According to the Environmental Texas, Texas has been number one in water pollution since 2022. The most commonly known contaminants in Texas are arsenic, fluoride, nitrate, and nitrite. The meat and poultry industry is a top polluter, followed by oil production. Industrialized cities like Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Fort Worth are hotspots for contaminated water. According to Zhang and Werbs, factors such as human activity, climate change, economic growth, and projects have affected water infrastructure in Texas.
Okay, so this is going to be the slide of history of water pollution in Texas. Since the early 20th century, water pollution in Texas has been in existence because of the fast-growing agricultural expansion and urban growth. In the early mid 20th century, Texas started to experience industrial development along rivers and Gulf coasts. This would lead this led to waste from oil refineries and chemical plants to enter waterways. In this time frame, the Lavaca Bay became heavily contaminated with mercury, which did result in a long-term damage and seafood bans. Throughout this, an environmental law passed around 1972 called the Clean Water Act and the creation of the Texas Water Quality Board brought a turning point in the management of water and pollution control. These acts brought restrictions and industrial discharges and set water quality standards. Pollution growth, urbanization, and climate related flooding have started to increase since the 2000s. Over 250 new containment cases have been reported in 2023 alone, which involve the concerns of microplastic and chemical contamination and groundwater pollution. Even though water quality regulations and monitoring have improved in Texas today, emerging threats like plastics, stormwater runoffs, and drought induced concentrations of pollution continue to affect Texas water systems.
For many decades now, Texas has had a poor water infrastructure which caused an ongoing water contamination crisis. On the right, you can see active contamination cases since 2023. The most cluttered red spots would be major cities like Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin. According to the Texas Tribune, approximately 70% of Texans voted in favor of Proposition 4, which grants $1 billion in sales tax revenue in efforts to improve infrastructure, quality, and demand. In a testimony, Jeremy Missouri states that Texas 2036 projects that the state's long-term price tag for addressing these issues equals nearly 154 billion. Although it seems an improvement, the proposition doesn't go into effect until 2027.
So I got recent contamination in the DFW area. Water pollution is becoming a serious issue in the DFW area. The biggest concern right now are PFAS, often called forever chemicals, and PCBs, and older industrial pollutants that don't break down easily. These substances can linger for decades in our water, soil, and even in living organisms. Several local cities, including Fort Worth, Halton City, and Lake Worth, have found PFAS levels above new safety limits. Fort Worth is even suing the companies thought to be responsible. In Dallas, PFAS levels near our wastewater plants are getting close to federal limit, which raises concerns for the future. PCBs are still a problem too, especially in parts of the Trinity River, which fish remain unsafe to eat due to contamination. Both PFAS and PCBs are linked to health risks like cancer and developmental or immune system problems. Overall, these chemicals don't go away on their own and can harm both people and wildlife. Protecting our water means staying alert, taking action before the problems spread further. Applied knowledge. According to the lecture, water is one of our most important resources for people, farms, and industry. In the DFW area, water pollution reflects many of the issues that lecture talked about. Pollution comes from both point sources, like factories and sewage plants, and non point sources, such as runoff from streets, lawns, and construction sites. Groundwater, which supplies much of our drinking and agricultural water, is also being overused. That can cause the ground to sink and make cleaning up pollution much harder and more expensive. The lecture also mentioned pollution from farms and cities, which can lead to excessive plant growth and low oxygen, dead zones in our lakes and water storage areas. Some of the solutions discussed, like watershed management, conservation, and using wetlands or ponds to naturally clean water, are already being put to use here in Texas. These efforts showed that protecting water at the source and working with natural systems is one of the best ways to keep our water clean and safe.
Hi everyone. Today I'll be talking about some of the key solutions and actions Texas is taking to improve and protect our water quality. First, let's look at water quality monitoring. The Texas Integrated Report helps track the process of our state's water system through the Texas Water Quality Monitoring Program. Data is collected from rivers, lakes, and bays all across the state. This information helps identify which waters are healthy and which ones need restoration so that the resource can be focused where they're needed most. Next, we have pollution reduction programs. One important effort is the non-point source management program. This program helps reduce runoff pollution from farms, cities, and other areas. It uses strategies like creating buffer zones along waterways and improving stormwater systems to prevent pollutants such as fertilizer, oil, and chemicals from reaching our rivers and lakes. But finally, let's talk about wastewater treatment improvement. Upgrading wastewater treatment facilities and expanding stormwater infrastructure in urban areas is helping prevent sewage and contaminated water from entering natural waterways. Cities like, like big cities like Houston, kind of like us in Dallas, Austin are great examples. They invest in advanced filtration and nutrient removal system. These technologies make sure that water leaving treatment plants is much cleaner, protecting both environment and public health. Together, together, these three efforts, water quality monitoring, pollution reduction, and wastewater treatment improvements, are making a big difference in keeping Texas water clean and healthy for people, wildlife, and future generations. Basically, everybody that's just around us. Like we trying to keep it going, like even people after us.
From industrial runoff to everyday contaminants, water pollution in Texas affects everyone, and staying aware and making changes is the only way to keep our water safe.
Thank you so much for watching. This was our presentation on water pollution.